Before we begin, thank you very much to Teeny but not quite tiny Convoy for pitching in over on Ko-fi. You remember when we kept track of how many days I've been doing daily content now? Do you remember when we started videos with that? That feels like a long time ago. That feels like a lifetime ago at this point. Man, I miss those days. We'll get back to those days. You'll run out of convoys eventually. You can't keep it up forever. At some point, you're going to start repeating yourselves. There's only so many sizes. Anyway, we have things to focus on today. So, for today's video, I thought, you know what we only did a couple times I really liked when we did it? So I've done a couple videos where we take modern toys and we apply them to old Botcon sets. To try and give you like a refresher, you know, trying to like do like a little fun homage to this weird time period. And this is kind of brought on by the fact that Botcon characters seem to be on the table, you know, like we have animated Motormaster as a retail toy now. You know, Flame War's gotten retail toys. I think we're just good to go on whatever Botcon did. So I've already done Botcon 2010, and I've done Dawn of Futures Past. So we need to look at a few others, and I thought, why not try the original? We'll go all the way back to 2005, and we'll do the original Timelines box set Descent into Evil. And at first, I thought this was going to be pretty simple. You know, there's not a whole lot of characters in there. There's some molds doing some heavy lifting to bulk out the size of the set. Challenges arose. So let's start wherever we can. So we're going to start with Fallback, who's supposed to be Outback, if you never put that together. It's using the Energon Strongarm mold. Energon Strongarm has no modern mold. He is only existing in his own series. So this is, you know, so right off the bat, we got to get a little bit creative here. So the first idea, obviously, the first thing you jump to is, well, we have Jeep Transformers, just make him one of the Jeeps. The problem here is that, one, detritus already comes pretty close to like Fallback's color scheme. So I really wouldn't want to approach that. But also, like, the vehicle mode kind of fits, but I don't think it's rugged or heavy enough. Strongarm is not like a normal stock Jeep. It's futuristic. You know, it's Cybertronian a little bit. It looks a little bit heavier, a little bit more teched out. Also, that robot mode just does not suit. I don't like how the robot mode fits this. So, there is an option here. There is an option here. We do have to go a ways back for it, but I think this is going to work. And that you have to go all the way back to the Combiner War Swindle mold. Now, for this list, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the rules are. I should have done this at the start, but here's a good example of what the rules are. I'm not going to go nuts. I'm trying to keep this into sensibility to the point where maybe this actually could be done. You know, so I'm not just trying to use any mold whatsoever. I'm only going to use molds I think might still work. So for the case of Combiner War Swindle, I know it's an old mold at this point, but I don't think it's too far away from what we already have, especially if we start changing a few things up. No need to be a combiner, so we can leave out the hand, foot, and gun as far as accessory count goes. Also, we can retool that block in the center to just be a block. So as part of my rules here to like keeping this into something that could actually be released, all we would really do, I'm allowing myself to change the head. I'm allowing myself a partial chest remold, and I'm allowing myself a change in weapon. That's it. That's all we're going to do to these molds. So in this case, you swap out that hand, foot, gun and just leave it off just to save budget because this is an older mold. And that big combiner block in the center, we just swap that out for just like two hollow shells of plastic closed together. It's just a new block that goes in there, doesn't do anything, doesn't go anywhere. You know, and it's just a lot less mechanics going on. So you don't have a whole lot of extra guts to budget out, you know, especially like ratcheted spring joints and things like that. Also, the 3 chest just works better for actually getting strong arm across visually. I think that helps a lot, and obviously the vehicle mode is great for this. So that's one down. This is going slower than I thought, so let's pick up the speed a little bit here. We'll talk about Ratchet, which also means we talk about Ironhide. This was one of those toys where, like, the toy that came out, Toe Line from Energon, everyone kind of went, that just looks like a really nice homage to the original toys of Ironhide and Ratchet. Can we get them as those toys? And Hasbro said, no. FunPub said yes, though. So, in doing this, I really wanted to use the new frequency mold that's coming out because I would love to see, like, a Ironhide as a proper 80s van. That would have actually been pretty fun. But one of the notes about this is it is a very sleek, kind of svelte design for Ironhide and Ratchet. This is the skinniest any of them have ever been. So I wanted to keep that. So I went to the other Stranger Things mold. Code Red, I think, fits this a lot better. And then accessory-wise, like, this is actually a lot easier to switch out. I don't think you need to change the chest at all. I think you can leave that alone, swap out the head for Ironhide and Ratchet's head, and then you just dump all the accessory budget from all these little extra weapons he comes with, dump them all, and you just include that little, like, fold-out radar thing that fits on top. Simple enough. You know, that's actually pretty easy to do. I think that's a pretty surefire homage right there. Looking at it now, kind of shocked that we don't have any customizer that has ever tackled this and tried to make it into Energon Toe Line. Like, I don't really care for mine. Does anyone want mine to give it a shot? Let's talk Ricochet. Ricochet does have a few problems because, again, there's no modern Cyberjet. Though that's really not an issue for this. Part of keeping the spirit of the Botcon set is just using the molds that are available at the time in order to convey the character that you're looking for. Now, Ricochet is a completely new character, so it's not in the situation of, like, Ironhide and Ratchet, who obviously have modern toys, but I don't want to just throw, like, a rerun of 86 Ironhide into this set. So Ricochet was an original character, so we have to kind of work this around. Now, the easiest and most obvious, could absolutely just slide right into this, is Maverick. Maverick is going to would be perfect fodder to make a brand new Cyberjet. Everything ends up in the right locations. It has the same thin proportions. You swap out the weapons for, you know, something that looks like the missile launchers. You ditch the stupid motorcycle accessory. The problem here is he big. Maverick big. I'm not necessarily sure that's the right call here. Now, I don't really care that much about scale in this set, but I at the very least want the characters to feel correct when they're on the shelf together. So to go from Ricochet being the smallest of the Autobots in the set to being by far the tallest, I think doesn't set well with me. So I got to figure out something else. And unfortunately, the closest I can come up with is one Starscream. Now, this is easier because Ricochet is a completely original character. We can work with this. Weapon swap, head swap, chest is fine. That's another reason why this mold works. Almost went with Needle Nose. I don't think as much works on that as it does here. Aside from the fact Cyberjet just sounds like a better title to put onto that vehicle mode with its, you know, Cybertronian design. It just has that nice svelte look that Cyberjets tended to have in robot mode. So that's what sells me. That's what gets me. It's not a great fit, I will admit, but Ricochet was always going to be a tough one. And this one, I think that's as close as we're going to get. We'll even do Ramjet. How about that? Because Ramjet is a super easy one. Just throw that right onto the brand new Cybertron Starscream mold. Now, I have spoken in the past, actually pretty recently. We did the Universe 1.0 tier list. And I told you that I'm not really here. Let's go back just so we can see what I'm talking about. I'm not really a big fan of the Universe Ramjet color scheme because I think it looks way too bright to be a Decepticon. It looks too friendly. It's just too Autobot. But something about the way it looks here on this particular design, I think helps that out a little bit. Like, sure, like white and blue is still a pretty Autobot color scheme. I think it's the heavier aspect of the black and the removal of the red that actually pulls this together a little bit more. I think it's a better looking color scheme than the one they did in Universe. So in that regard, yeah, I would absolutely be down for this as this particular version of Ramjet. Let's get into the molds that have to do some heavy lifting. How about that? Because there's some molds that got used quite a bit. So, the Energon RC mold ended up doing triple duty. Not only did it have to be Chromia, who's totally not Moonracer in this scenario, also had to be Flare Up, who is totally not Firestar in this scenario, but it also had to be the brand new character of Flame War. So that's a lot of heavy lifting. That is a lot of work one mold has to do. Now, here's the thing. The work is technically already done. Selects already did a modern Flame War toy. They used the Legacy RC mold to do it. And I don't like it. This is the closest I came to liking this mold, and even then, I'm still not really happy with its existence. Yeah, not for me. Which is a shame because, yeah, like, there's a lot of design elements, especially the wheels ending up on the back the way they do, that do harken back to the Energon design. So it would make sense, but also me no likey. Also, I'm not a fan of using that Battlemaster mold to try and, like, hammer in the crossbow accessory, or I guess just, like, the gigantic mechanical bow. So I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that. No, we're going to go to a better motorcycle mold and use the Legacy Prowl version. It's already been Chromia, which is going to look a little bit too close to this one. What we might end up doing, because we don't have to use the same mold for all three, we might be able to do Chromia in, like, that particular Legacy RC mold, but we'll do the other two. We'll do Flame War, and we will do Flare Up using this mold. And this mold will also, again, get a new head. I don't think it needs a new chest on this one either. Maybe a little bit of retool just to add an Energon star to the front of it. But weapon-wise, yeah, you could work in some kind of bow accessory instead of those shurikens. Never liked those shurikens on that toy. They were fine on the original version. They feel awkward on this one. I don't know. I don't even know if you can get rid of them. They might be gang molded into some of the other internal parts. Don't know. Can't exactly check on that. All right, we got to talk about this mold too. So, the Virulent clone, as the troop builder, we got to keep that as a deluxe. Obviously, we can't do any kind of risk to the budget on this one. Now, I had another idea for this as well. So, obviously, for me, the perfect way of, like, doing a brand new Virulent clone is going to be Waspinator. And I'm completely fine with that. Like, that way the robot ends up with the similar shapes and similar directions. Understandably, Beast Mode is very different. Obviously, he is not a lizard, nor is he a mantis. So, we got to work with what we got to work with, though. And I do think that in the blue and the yellow with the red wings, I think the Waspinator mold would do it. And again, this is one where you swap in a new head, and that's pretty much all you have to do. If this is going to be where, like, this toy line gets budgeted, I could even see them just doing it as a straight repaint of Waspinator. No need for a new head. I don't necessarily think that would happen. I would prefer it. I'd prefer the new head, but you never know. But then we have two others. So the Virulent clone is just a souvenir figure. It is a troop builder. That said, we also had Buzzclaw, this set's version of Buzzclaw, in the black, purple, and yellow. And then we also had Dirge. I don't know why they named him Dirge, considering this is not anything like any Dirge that's been released before. But I wanted to do something different. The Virulent clone, I'm perfectly fine making just Waspinator out of him. That's fine. That's decent. But again, we don't have to stick to that specific mold. And I wanted something that still kind of harkened back to, like, the spirit of this design. Buzzclaw is just kind of a monster bugman. So Let's bring in a monster Bugman to represent these two. Now, the Repugnus mold, there's a little bit of trick here. So again, we just did the Universe 1.0 repaints, and one of them was Buzzclaw from Beast Wars as Repugnus. So I thought, why not flip that script? Let's use it for the Botcon toys, because this is going to feel far closer in the Beast mode. And while admittedly the robot mode is going to hit a very different silhouette, a head swap is going to help it a lot. Retooling what ends up on the chest, I know they're the bug arms, but retooling those to have more similar shapes to what the original mold had, that would go a long way to helping this out. I just thought it would be fun to have like a separation between these three, you know, because it was always weird to me that like, no, two of these bugs are special bugs, and then all these others are not special bugs. And then we get to the main course, the big centerpiece of the box set, which is Deathsarus. Now, we do have a new Deathsarus mold. If you could convince Hasbro to repaint it and release it at retail as like a commander class toy, sure, fine, whatever. I don't think that's happening, though. I do not foresee that happening, which leaves us in kind of a pickle here. Now, there's no way to recreate the 6 modes. We're just gonna like confirm that right now. You can like, yeah, maybe you retool a 6-shot, like the Titan's Return mold, but there's no dragon. And of anything on Deathsarus, I need it to have a dragon mode at the very least. So you're kind of stuck here. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to choose from. As much as I love my Dragon Transformers, we haven't had a whole lot lately. Especially not at the size we would need for this. You know, the scary thing is, the only other 2-headed dragon we have with those wings on the back, the way Deathsarus has in this version, Titan's Return Twinferno. Now, call him Double Cross, call him Twinferno. Either way, I do love this design. I think both his original G1 toy as well as this one are very, very good figures for their ages. And yeah, I do like the design overall, but I will fully acknowledge this is going to be a very, very tough sell that the main villain of the entire box set is going to be a small deluxe. I can't have that. That's not going to work. No, unfortunately, we are only left with one option, and I hate it. I hate that Transmetal 2 Megatron from Legacy is the only option we have. This would take so much retooling to work. The wings would need to be redone. The head of the dragon, neck and all, would have to be shortened out so it had that chicken dragon head. I don't necessarily think you could remold the chest because of like the way the beast mode arms transform, but then again, we're trying to strike the visuals of the Robots in Disguise Megatron's physical molding, meaning like that orb in the center kind of works, so you might get away with just not remolding the chest at all. But this is the only one where I'm stumped. This is the only one where I am stumped. I don't foresee a good option here. Yeah, unfortunately, like, I hate to leave off on a bad note, but I have to end on Deathsarus out of this set, and unfortunately, just, yeah, we don't have a lot of good options for this guy. Maybe this is where we finally get that intended 86 Grimlock retool. The one that they wanted to turn into Deathsarus originally if they couldn't get the HasLab, or if they just decide, no, we're going to keep it smaller budget. So if it's not this Megatron, it's that Grimlock with the original plan of retooling him into Deathsarus. That I would accept. Because, hey, then we can retool it to match even better. But that's as far as we go. That's the entire box set. So, yeah, Deathsarus being a little bit tricky, but everything else, yeah, that's absolutely doable. We got some modern stuff that would work for a lot of these characters. It's not that I think Hasbro's ever going to homage this set of all Botcon sets. They have so many other priorities they could have gone for in that state. Still need more updated Shattered Glass, for instance. But this was just a fun little thought experiment for the day, and I thought I would share it with all of you. So that is it for me. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.